Hello friends, welcome to Dungeons & Dragonfly, where I adapt various characters for use in D&D. I'm Dragonfly9078, and today I'm building Mantis. So what do we want from this build? Well, Mantises are primarily ambush predators, so we'll need to be able to take enemies by surprise, hiding and striking where they don't expect. That first strike isn't typically a killing blow, so we'll need to latch onto our prey and wear it down with our sharp little mantis hands. And it might be helpful to put on a show, either to lure prey in by appearing to be something they want, or to try to scare them away with a threat display. Looking over at ability scores, I'll be using the standard point array. If you want to roll for stats, that's fine, just make sure your dexterity and wisdom are high enough to multiclass. Starting off with a 14 in strength, we're going to be grappling, so we need to grab good. Dexterity's 15 for fast strikes and bug-like agility, but constitution is only 10 and intelligence is only 8. Honestly, that's probably too high since we are just an insect, but that's the case for all of these stats, so whatever. Wisdom is going to be 13, mostly for the multiclass to be honest, but mantids also do have extremely good eyesight for insects, so perception is part of it as well. Then we'll finish up with a 12 in charisma. Mantises are generally well regarded compared to other bugs, and are even popular as pets. If we're going to be an insect, then you know we have to be a thri-kreen. We get +2 to strength and +1 to dex, evening them both out to 16. We're a small creature, and interestingly, we count as a monstrosity rather than as a humanoid, so things like hold person won't work on us. We get 60 feet of dark vision, we don't need to sleep, and we can't speak, instead broadcasting our thoughts to nearby creatures telepathically. Since they are insectoid, thri-kreen have an exoskeleton, making our AC 13 plus our dexterity modifier while we're not wearing armor. We can also take an action to alter the color of our shell to match our surroundings, giving us advantage on stealth checks. We've also got a smaller set of secondary arms that we can use to interact with objects, open doors, and even wield weapons, though only ones that have the light property. For our background, I'm going to go with Hermit. None of the backgrounds really fit, but I do want religion proficiency, and neither of our classes give it, so we get religion, medicine, and herbalism kit proficiencies here. Starting off as a rogue, we get 4 skills from the rogue list. My picks are athletics, stealth, persuasion, and intimidation. Then 2 of those become expertises. Athletics and stealth are the most important for our build, so we'll go with those. Rogues can also make sneak attacks, as long as they're using a finesse or ranged weapon, and have either advantage on the attack or a friend within 5 feet of the attack target. At this level, we add 1d6 damage from our sneak attack, and that'll increase by another d6 every odd-numbered rogue level that we take. So the plan here is pretty simple. We want to use our athletics expertise to grapple a creature, then while we're holding them down, use a dagger to stab them repeatedly for sneak attack damage. We can even use our secondary arms for that, since daggers are light and finesse, so we can hold them down with 2 arms and stab with our secondary arms. It would have been probably more flavorful to use sickles, since they're more in line with what mantis arms actually look like, and they are light weapons as well, but they're not finesse, so we can't get sneak attack with them, so we're just going to go with daggers. At second level, we get cunning action, so we can dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action, so we can attack from hiding, and if it fails, we can hide again to try next turn. Then another use for our bonus action is steady aim. We can give ourselves advantage on our next attack roll in the same turn, but we can't move before or after taking aim. We also become a swashbuckler at 3rd level. Our fancy footwork means that if we make a melee attack against a creature, we don't provoke opportunity attacks from that creature for the rest of the turn. And our rakish audacity adds our charisma modifier to our initiative, along with letting us use our sneak attack without advantage or a friend nearby, if the target is the only creature within 5 feet of us. We do still need to use a finesse weapon, and we can't have disadvantage on the attack. Our first ASI goes to the Tavern Brawler feat. Our strength goes up to 17, we get proficiency with improvised weapons, and our unarmed strikes use a d4 for their damage. Plus, when we hit with an unarmed strike with the attack action, we can try to grapple the creature we hit using our bonus action. At 5th level, we can halve the damage we take from an attack that hits us using our reaction, as long as we can see the attacker, and our sneak attack damage goes up to 3d6. Next, we get 2 more expertises. We'll say the social skills, persuasion and intimidation. Then evasion means we don't take damage from passing dex saves that would normally do half damage on a success, and we only take half if we fail rather than the full damage. The rest of our ASIs are in fact ASIs and not feats. Here we'll even off strength to 18 and wisdom to 14. Then 9th level swashbucklers have panache. As an action, we can make a persuasion check against a creature's insight. If we succeed and they're not hostile, they're charmed for a minute or until we or an ally attack them, as we pretend to be a beautiful flower full of pollen or whatever it is our prey is into these days. If they are hostile, they focus on us and get disadvantage to attack other creatures for a minute, though that ends if one of our allies hurts them or if they're ever more than 60 feet from us. 10th level is another ASI, I'm bumping dexterity to 18. Both that and strength are going to be capped by the end, so do them in whatever order you want. Reliable Talent is one of Rogue's best abilities, meaning we can't roll lower than a 10 on any ability check we make that we're proficient in, including our expertises. So at the moment, our minimum stealth check is 22, and our minimum athletics is 23 as we cap off strength with another ASI. The last level of Rogue that we want is level 13 for Elegant Maneuver. As a bonus action, we can give ourselves advantage on the next acrobatics or athletics check we make on our turn, and our sneak attack also increases once more to end up at 7d6. Now that we're good on Rogue, let's hop over and finish off the build as a Ranger. We get a free Ranger skill, I'll say Perception for that great Mantis eyesight, and as a Canny Explorer we get one more Expertise. Go with Religion to truly be a praying mantis. Mantises aren't picky about food, they'll eat anything from insects to birds to lizards, so instead of favored enemy we'll go with favored foe. When we hit a creature with an attack, we can mark them as our favored foe. Once per turn, including when we mark them, we can deal an extra 1d4 damage to them when we hit them with an attack. They stay marked for up to a minute using our concentration, and we can mark creatures a number of times per day equal to our proficiency bonus. For our fighting style, Unarmed Fighting lets our unarmed strikes deal a d6 of damage, or a d8 if we're not holding a weapon or shield. We can also automatically deal a d4 every turn to a creature we have grappled. Multiclassing into Ranger does give us martial weapon proficiency, so we'll also take this opportunity to upgrade the dagger we were using for our sneak attack to a scimitar. I don't super care about our Ranger spells, there's really only one that I'm interested in, but for now we can take Jump and Longstrider, especially since we're going with one of the flightless mantid species, so we're not going to get any kind of flying. At 3rd level we become a Gloomstalker, upgrading our Dark Vision to Umbral Sight. The range extends to 90 feet, and we can fool other creatures' Dark Vision, becoming invisible to Dark Vision while we are in darkness. We're also a Dread Ambusher. During our first turn of each combat, our speed increases by 10 feet, and if we take the attack action on that turn, we can make an additional attack, which deals an extra 1d8 damage on a hit. Gloomstalkers do get spells as well, and Disguise Self can help us look less like a predator and more like something easier to eat, or conversely can make us look less appetizing and more dangerous so other predators will avoid us. Our last ASI will cap off our dex, then we get extra attack so we can make 2 attacks with the attack action. Use the first one to grapple and the second one to stab away. As for spells, Pass Without Trace is the one I really wanted since it gives us plus 10 to our stealth for up to an hour with our concentration, for the ultimate in ambush tactics. And Magic Weapon is just to cover our bases, and lets us attack creatures immune to normal weapons. At 6th level, the damage from our favored foe increases to a d6, and as a roving explorer, our speed increases by 5 feet, and we get climbing and swimming speeds equal to our walking speed. I suppose we can get one last spell as well. How about Enhance Ability, to get advantage on ability checks using the ability of our choice. So better grappling, better hiding, better persuasion, whatever we feel like. And finally, our capstone is the 7th level of Gloomstalker for Iron Mind, giving us proficiency in wisdom saves. Now that the build is complete, let's take a look and see what we have done. Well, we can hide and grapple with the best of them. Our strength and dex are both capped off, so our minimum athletics and stealth are 27 apiece, thanks to expertise and reliable talent. We can also get advantage on either one very easily, and with Pass Without Trace, our stealth is minimum 37 and maximum 47. Then once we have a creature grappled, we're attacking with a scimitar for 8d6 damage thanks to sneak attack. That's fireball damage every turn without using a spell slot. Speaking of, best of all, the build is almost completely resource free. The only things we have that cost some kind of resource are our favored foe and our spell slots, which are useful but not integral. We can ignore both of those, and the biggest losses are Pass Without Trace and Magic Weapon. Of course, we're not too fussed about resources, but we are a little strapped for action economy. Our bonus action is jam-packed with useful and relevant things to do, from grappling with Tavern Brawler, to hiding with Cunning Action, to getting advantage with things like Steady Aim and Elegant Maneuver. Similarly, all of our 2nd level spells, as well as our favored foe, use our concentration, and we don't exactly have a solid constitution modifier to maintain that concentration if we take a hit. And finally, we have nothing to do at range. If a creature's further away than we can reach by running, jumping, and maybe throwing a dagger, we can't do anything at all to them other than hide and pray. Luckily, we're very good at both. Thank you for watching, friends. I hope you enjoyed the build. No poll this time because it's actually already happened. The next video will be the winner of the Zelda character poll that I did a month or 2 back. If you have any feedback or suggestions for characters you'd like to see me build, please leave them in the comments below and they could show up in a future poll. Leave a like or subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks again for watching. I will see y'all later.